Okay, I should be unmuted now. Let me check in with the Zoom students. I see Cord. Cord is not driving. Thank you, Cord, for being stationary today. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Oh, and I can hear. I could see Jacob Lent. Jacob, give me a thumbs up. Okay, or wave at me. Good. And there's Edward, and I've got. Hang on a minute. That looks like Cameron. And Colin, James Shepard, Morgan Peterman, Austin Ross, Zach Bingston. And there's Dr. Castell. Hi, Elena. Good morning. Joe Gunn, Douglas Dindy, Riley Eggemeyer, and Young is on the Zoom in the back of the class. Okay. Well, it's good to see people in person. I can only see half your faces. Hey, for those of you on Zoom, everybody else is wearing a mask. I've got my face shield on. I've got 2 layers of protection between me and you. I've got this force field here, which is impenetrable. And I've got this one here, which is slightly uncomfortable, but I'll get used to it. I had the coronavirus over the Christmas break, so I don't have it anymore. So I hope that makes you feel better. I'm here. The germs I'm getting, you might catch a cold from me. You know, everybody's dealing with cedar allergies right now. But I've already been through the coronavirus, so I survived it. I'm a coronavirus survivor. I'm happy to say that it didn't treat me that badly. I've had worse illnesses, that's for sure. I realize that it treats everybody differently, but I had a headache really bad one day, so I laid down and I went to sleep. And then for about 3 days, I had a really bad sinus congestion, and I took Dayquil and NyQuil. And then I went and got a COVID test and came back positive. So did my wife, and we all had the same symptoms. My son too. So we isolated for a couple of weeks together. So I mean, it's not like I was by myself. So it was, as far as illnesses go, I've had a lot worse. If you ever get the shingles, that's miserable. Okay, I've had that before. But the coronavirus wasn't too bad. I realize some people are dealing with it more severely than others. I have a friend who got low oxygen and he had to go to the ER, and I've had the others who have been in intensive care, but I was thankful that it didn't treat me too badly. All right. Well, it looks like it's time for class to begin. So this should be our capstone course, the second round of capstone, AGSM440. What I'm going to do is we're going to do some organizational things today, and I'm going to try to get you on track with where you're supposed to be in your project. Young, if any time I forget something, you remind me, okay? Because we've got some assignments due. I want to make sure everybody remembers what teams they're on. I'm not going to go through calling out all the team names, but Young, do you need me to help in terms of attendance? Maybe so, because the ones on Zoom, you know who's here, but you can't tell who's actually here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and call the roll. It's a tradition. Texas A&M college classes calling the roll, okay? So I'll start with, I'm going to go by team order. I thought about having y'all sit as teams, but you're only going to be in class here as one big class for the first couple of weeks. So I think we can do without that. We need to stay spread out anyway, and I could put, each team on a row, but there's only 7 rows. That's too hard to do. So y'all just stay where you are and answer up. If you're on Zoom, answer up as well, and hopefully you know what team you're on, okay? So team 1, I've got Douglas Dindy. He's on Zoom. I saw him.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. And I've got Riley Eggemeyer.
Yep, I'm right here.
Riley's out there. And Brandon Montgomery. Okay, thank you, Brandon. Damian Salazar. Okay, good. So I do have team 1 right here. That's good. Did you do that? And what do we got here? Team 2? Oh, man. Okay, y'all are already organized. I love that. That's great. Okay, on team 2, I should have Michael Braun. Where's Michael? Is he on Zoom? Michael hasn't made it yet. Have you guys heard from Michael? Is he alive? Daniel Braun. I just got their name wrong. Okay. And see, you guys give me a break here because I can only see half your faces. So Daniel. All right, thanks. Okay, and I've got Caleb Yarbrough. I know I got Caleb here. Bailey Machek. Where's Bailey? Or no, it's Reed. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Older brother. Reed, are you on the Zoom? Yeah, there you are. I see you. I think I see you. Okay, and I've got Johnson. Is that Wayne Johnson?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Haven't seen Wayne. Wayne, are you out there? There you are. Wayne's on Zoom. Okay, so team two is all accounted for. Team 3, man, the brother sister thing is messing me up. I've got Hayden. I almost said Zach Hayden, but that's got to be Jarrett Hayden. Okay, Jarrett's here. And Ramon Pimental, you're here. Good, thank you, Ramon. Schmidt, that'd be Colin Schmidt. Colin's here. And Weethorn, Jason. Is it Jason or Jacob? Jason, okay, good. I've only got your last names here, so I'm working without a net. All right. And then team 4, Andres Bull, okay. And I've got Mackenzie Bryant. Hi, Mackenzie. Rebecca Seal, fantastic. And Joe Gunn is on the Zoom. Team 5, Michael Benavides was on Zoom. You still with me, Michael?
Yeah, Matthew right here.
I've tasked Young with keeping up with when y'all come to class on the Zoom. Apparently, there's some students, and this isn't toward you, Joe, okay? I saw Joe was here earlier, but you know, some students have figured out that you can show up on the Zoom and then disappear, okay? I've got your number. I'm watching. I've got Young, got my best people working on that, so don't try that. Y'all are too professional for that anyway, right? Okay, so I got Michael Benavides. I got Colin Ferreira. Colin's on the Zoom. Cord Kaleffel, I got him on the Zoom. And Dree's back. That's Joshua. Thanks. I knew it was a J, but I didn't want to mangle it. Thanks, Joshua. Okay, team 6. Zach Bingston is on Zoom. Carly Fonkowiak is here. Michelle Grauman is here. And Austin Ross is on Zoom. Team 7, Cameron Berger is here on Zoom. Jacob Lent is on Zoom.
Yes, sir.
I've got Ian McDonald. I saw him in person here. And Tristan Frerick. Tristan, are you here or are you on Zoom?
I'm on Zoom.
Tristan's on the Zoom. Let me look at your handsome face, see if I can find you. Oh, there he is. Okay, gotcha. That beard's really coming in. I mean, almost didn't recognize you. Okay, team 8, Blake Halamuda. Hi, Blake. Morgan Peterman. Morgan's on Zoom, right?
Right here, sir.
Annalie Rodriguez. You can sit there or with your team. It's fine. And James Shepard. Or James. James is on Zoom. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Team 9, the last team. We have 9 teams. Kyle Allen, and I've got Dakota Creason. Is Dakota signed up? I'm not sure if he's with us this semester or not. Dakota, are you out there on Zoom? Nope. Jordan LeCompte, Jordan, and Edward Quintanilla is on Zoom. Okay, that's everybody. We have 9 teams. Most teams have 4 team members. We've got a couple that may have taken some attrition and they're down to 3. Either way, it'll work out fine. Okay. Y'all should be able to see my screen okay. Yes. Man, I am way out of practice here. So there we go. That's what you wanted to see, isn't it? Ah, I've got 2 sides. Look at that. Okay, fantastic. Let's see if I can get the Zoom pictures out of the way. Okay, well, as I said earlier, welcome back to class. We're going to try something different this semester where we've got a hybrid face-to-face and online option. I think that's designed really for your preference. Obviously, if you've tested positive, if you've got symptoms, or if you've been exposed, you don't want to come to class and spread the deadly pestilence. So you would need to do the online option. If you prefer the online option, then that's available for you as well. If you prefer to be in person, then that's available for you as well. So just don't come to class if you've got symptoms and all that stuff. Otherwise, you're welcome to come here. So we'll try to get through this semester with these slight modifications. I'm going to treat the class pretty much like it's meeting in person. So I want to give you the authentic college experience of classroom. So whether you're online or in person, the default instructional method is for in person. So anytime students on Zoom, if I do something that you can't follow because you're not here, just let me know, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this morning an overview of what to expect this semester from AGSM440. There's a few grading differences that I'll cover. We'll talk a little bit about problem solving and review those steps that we learned last fall. We're going to talk about interacting with clients and what the expectations are with regard to interacting with clients. I'm going to review the expectations with regard to your writing. We've been through business writing. You've had a whole semester of practicing that now. So the expectations on writing are going to be, we're going to raise the bar, okay? So I'll talk about that. I'm going to spend some time today giving you an overview of the new part of the class. The new part is the oral presentations you're going to do in the form of progress reports. We're going to spend the next couple of classes focusing on that more, but I at least want to give you a view of what to expect because those will start in a couple of weeks. So you'll need to start working toward that. And then we'll talk about the next immediate steps that are going to happen after this class, okay? So just to review what we did last semester. Man, doesn't last semester seem like a long time ago? I mean, school was over at Thanksgiving. I don't know about you, but this was a really long break. I'm kind of glad to be back in the college class mode. Apparently, not everybody agrees with me. Okay. Anyway, I assume maybe some of you do. So here's the form of your project. We're still going to follow this project description, which you've already written. Isn't that nice for the old project that you did? What was that one again? I forgot what we did last semester. Cantaloupe sanitation, okay? We're done with that. We're not going to talk anymore about cantaloupes. Nobody has a cantaloupe project this semester. You all have your actual project with your actual client. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. The cantaloupe project was fun. It was a good learning experience. Hopefully you learned about this format that we're covering and how to write business style, how to cite certain references, how to label tables and figures, and really how to write professionally. Remember, the objective is to kind of get you out of, well, some of the writing classes that you took either in high school or in college lean more toward the liberal arts version of writing, creative writing, where you use a lot of flowery, extraneous language. And business writing is not like that. It's more efficient, it's more professional, get to the point, okay? So we've covered that. So here's the outline we're going to continue to follow. You've already done the project description. If you haven't looked at that lately, you may want to get together as a team and remind yourselves, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, okay? And the next part of the project is the background. Now, as I mentioned last semester, the reason we did the project description in the fall is so you guys could continue to work or at least do some research on the background of your project over this enormously long break that we've had. I hope you took advantage of that opportunity. The background section, the draft is due on February 4th, which is just like a couple of weeks. So we'll look at that later. So If you haven't done too much on it, you still have some time, but like I said, the expectations are higher. Then there's the flow analysis, potential solutions section, recommended solution, economic analysis, risk analysis, implementation plan, and then you'll put all of it together at the end of the semester as a final report. So you're going to follow the same format and apply the lessons you learned last fall to this current project and create a series of reports as well as a final report that will reflect the current project that you're doing. And also last semester, we did a lot of transition training to prepare you for the workforce. Things like job search, how to write a resume, how to do interviews. We're not going to do as much of that this semester. I do have the Career Center coming in next week to touch base on that because many of you are well into the job search, and I want to make sure you understand the resources, the incredible resources that are available to you that you have paid for through your student fees. So, but we're not going to be doing too much of that. That was the focus last semester, okay? Over the break, I expected you to have some client interaction. So hopefully you've been able to stay in touch with your client, work on your background research, perhaps do a site visit, although, you know, with everybody kind of staying put, I doubt that there was a lot of that going on. And keep in mind your background paper is due on February 4th, which is that 2 weeks from today? That your draft is due for your background paper, okay? So that's coming up. The objectives of this course are similar to last semester. Apply analytical skills and business knowledge from your Ag Systems Management curriculum. We're really not teaching you anything new. This is a practical application course where you draw from everything that you have learned and the courses you have taken, and you integrate them and put it all together to solve a problem, a complex problem, a real world problem with a real client, okay? Well, we're going to develop your professional communication skills, both written and oral. That's why this is a C class, communications intensive class, which takes all the requirements of a W class, writing intensive class, and integrates on top of that oral communication as well, okay? You're going to develop your problem solving skills. This is an open-ended problem. Each of you have a problem that does not have a solution that you can find in the back of the chapter of your textbook, okay? Because this is not out of a textbook. So you're limited only by your imagination and actual feasibility with regard to solving the problem. Another objective is to expose you to industry problems. So you're obviously all working on one, and you'll be able to take advantage of some of the other team problems as we do a combined team event or class event at the end of the semester. All right. Some of the outcomes, systems analysis. The name of this major, Agricultural Systems Management. I know a lot of you struggle with explaining what that is, but systems analysis is a good term that you need to be familiar with and master, because that's what you're doing. You're analyzing a system of a significant management problem and coming up with a solution that will optimize the management of that system. You're going to evaluate financial and economic issues associated with the problem. That's the economic analysis part of the course of the problem. You're going to conduct reporting operations. That means you're going to submit written and oral progress reports. And you're going to practice professional oral and written presentations. So those are the course outcomes. Here's what to expect this semester. The first 2 weeks, beginning with today, will be in-class meetings. Today is January 19th. So we're going to meet here on the 19th and the 21st. And then next week, we're going to meet on the 27th and 28th. Okay, so the first 4 meetings will pretty much look like this. People here, and everybody in the classroom, everybody on Zoom, we'll all be doing a common meeting just to kind of get you started and off the ground, okay? I don't want to cram everything into one class period. We're going to spread it out over 4. Then we're going to transition into the second phase of the class where we don't meet all together. And this is a real boon for y'all because you'll be doing progress reports. That means you only have to come to class about once every 2 weeks with your team. When your team is not scheduled to do a progress report, you don't have to be here. You can if you want to. If you want to come observe other teams' progress reports, you're welcome to be here, okay? And when I say here, I mean a location that we're going to use to do progress reports. I would like to find a location over closer to Scoats Hall, perhaps even in Scoats Hall. Let me ask right now if that's going to mess anybody up. If we start doing progress reports over closer to Scoats Hall, that's actually more convenient for Dr. Castell and I. She's got a class like right before this, so for her to physically relocate over here for progress reports is going to be problematic. But I realize some of you may have classes over here. Anybody got any objections? Kyle, what do you think? Yep. Okay, I'll talk about that. So the question is, what about some, if you've got some team members for your progress report who are here in person, some of them are online. That's going to be one of the learning objectives that you've got to figure out how to manage that. So you have some options. I'll talk about it more in the future or in this section here, but that's something y'all need to work out. It's certainly not unusual to have that situation. I've been in meetings where there have been some people in person and some people couldn't make it, so we brought them in online. So I look at that situation, Kyle, as an opportunity to practice real world progress reports. So you can either all decide to do it online if you want to, or if you want to do a hybrid sort of thing and some of you be there in person and some of you be online, you can do that. Obviously, it may be a little more challenging to manage that. I'm not going to force you to all do it online, and here's why. Some students prefer the in-person setting. So out of deference to them, I'm going to allow the in-person setting if they want to, okay? Obviously, this is subject to instructor and client availability. It could be that both Dr. Castell and I take ill again and we can't make it in person. So we may drive us to an online setting. But we'll see how that goes, okay? I don't anticipate that happening to me since I've already had it. I should be good for about 3 months or 4 months, as they say. Your client is going to be probably coming in. Most of the clients I found in the past are not here in town, and since they don't want to drive here, they participate online. So you're probably going to have an online aspect to it anyway. So that's part of the realism that you've got to deal with, and Yang is going to help you with that, okay, in terms of practicing how to do an online presentation and setting that up, etc. Good question. We're going to talk more about that in the next couple of class meetings. So you can expect from February 2nd to about April 22nd, we're going to be in the progress report stage of the class, where for any given scheduled class meeting, and here I'm going to refer you to your syllabus, your written syllabus has the actual schedule. February 22nd, we have 3 teams that are supposed to show up. Teams 1 and 2 are going to present. Team 9 is going to come to observe and do a peer evaluation, okay? On February 5th, teams 3 and 4 are going to be here. So typically it's going to be 2 teams present. We should, I don't think we ever have a day where, we're going to have a couple of days where we have 3 teams presenting at once, but that'll be later in the semester after we've kind of gotten the rhythm down. So I'll talk about what the progress report day looks like, but there'll be 2 to 3 teams at each meeting. Everybody else is free. You're free to come to class and observe if you want to, or you're free to maximize that time. Guess what? That's a time that's in your schedule you all have in common, okay? So there's automatically a time built in for y'all to have some team meetings. So y'all can meet somewhere as a team during the class time when you're not doing your progress report. That's a good deal, isn't it? Okay. So that's most of the semester. During that time, the written reports are still due as scheduled. And so there's, in your syllabus, there's a schedule of the written reports. I've actually got a slide for that too. And as I mentioned, the first one is due, the draft is due February 4th. That's actually 2 weeks from next class meeting, okay? So you got to keep up with the written report schedule. It's going to feel a lot like last semester. It's same sort of rhythm. You're going to turn in a draft. A week later, we're going to send it back to you with our comments on how to improve it. And then a week later, you're going to turn around and give us the final. So the written reports are going to be very much like last semester, except you've already done the project description. So we're starting with the background section. Also within this semester, you're going to have 2 faculty advisor meetings to accomplish, okay? Notice I did not say faculty meetings. So last semester you met with one of us, your instructors. This semester you're going to choose and be assigned a faculty advisor, someone on the faculty, maybe in our department or maybe in another department, you're going to ask them to be your advisor for this project, and you're going to meet with them instead of meeting with me or Dr. Castell, okay? Notice there are some due dates for those. You have 2 meetings, they're each worth 50 points. In order to prevent you from procrastinating and trying to knock them both out the last week of classes, which that would never happen, right? You're required to do the first one no later than February 21st. If you don't do the first one by February 21st, you don't get credit for it, okay? The second one you have to do by April 15th, and I've got those dates on the slide there for you, okay? So put those dates on your calendar, and you know, those are no later than dates. If you want to do them both earlier, you're welcome to do that. The faculty advisor meetings, the faculty advisor is, I mean, they're designed to help advise you on the project. So take advantage of that. Don't just limit your interaction with them with those meetings, okay? You should be communicating with them more frequently than that, but you have to meet with them at least twice. And you'll go in and you'll kind of say, well, here's, you know, you're going to set up a business meeting with an agenda. You're going to schedule it, all that stuff that we practiced last semester. And you're going to meet with your faculty advisor either in person or by Zoom, and present to them kind of where you are, maybe ask them some questions. Remember, don't ask a question like, what should we do? So you always present your information to either your client or your faculty advisor or to us, ostensibly somewhere to your boss. Okay, so we've got this issue here. We're thinking about doing this or this. What do you recommend? Or you might want to say, we recommend this. What do you think about that? So don't just throw it out there and say, what should we do? All right, that's not showing good initiative. So work through the problem and have some options to present to your faculty advisor and get their, guess what? Get their advice on maybe a course of action that you should pursue, okay? So faculty advisors meetings, 2 of them. The last couple of weeks of April, we're gonna return to in-class meetings. We may be back over here unless we can find a place over in Scoats that's big enough, or somewhere near Scoats that's big enough and convenient enough, okay? But we'll be meeting together again April 20th, 22nd, 27th, and 29th. Those are the last 2 weeks of class. I'm gonna wrap up the semester. I'm gonna give you instructions on the capstone event and your final presentations, which capstone event, I'm going to say, is planned for April 30th. That is a reading day. It's after the last class day and before the final exams. That's traditionally when we do these things. So put that on your calendar. Make sure you don't have any job interviews or something like that. That's a good day to be here in person. Hopefully by then the coronavirus will be ancient history. We'll see. All right. So we're actually, traditionally we do that in the AGLS Center, which is right next door to the big building with all the glass. And it's a great event. It's I hope we're able to pull this off in person. It's the closest thing that you're going to have to a graduation party. Okay, with all your classmates, the BAN students, your classmates from BAN, Capstone, those seniors will be in there. We're going to have food. There's going to be clients, faculty walking around. Everybody's going to be dressed up. You're going to have a poster. about your project. You'll be telling people about it, and people will be patting you on the back. Good job, that kind of thing. Okay, so look forward to that. That's going to be a fun day. But we'll talk about that during our last in-class meetings. So that's what the semester looks like. Oops, sorry. Any questions? I'll talk more about that as we go on, okay? Here are some tasks. The tasks in italics are the ones related to the oral presentations. The other ones are related to your writing assignments. So you're going to have 4 writing assignments, kind of like last semester. Each one of you on the team is going to take the lead on one. So you've got your individual writing assignment. You're going to be doing one of 4 of those, either the background section or the flow analysis or the recommended solution, economic analysis, that kind of thing. There are going to be 4 oral reports, and I'm not going to go through the schedule of that. I'm going to refer you to the written syllabus. Make sure you know what day your team is supposed to be here or wherever we meet. There's going to be 4 peer reviews. I'll talk more about the peer reviews in a minute. But what that means is while the other team is presenting, your team is critiquing. You're reviewing their presentation, and you'll be given an opportunity at the end of their presentation to ask questions and make comments. And you're going to be required to have at least 2 comments and 2 questions. Okay, it's a real easy 50 points, but every time you do a presentation, you're going to be reviewing another team's presentation. So you stay in the room and you make comments, okay? You write some things down. That's the easiest points to get in this class. You're going to have a final written report, just like we did last semester. You're going to have a final oral presentation, and that will be something that you have to schedule with your client probably that last week of class, or maybe just after that. We'll give more instruction on that. So that's going to be like a super presentation. Now, you will have already done 4 oral presentations, which are about 15 minutes long. This presentation is supposed to be around 30 minutes long. So you're going to take your 4 15-minute presentations. You got to compress them into a 30-minute presentation, which really focuses on the solution to your problem, okay? And you're going to schedule an hour for that. You'll be in a room like this with your instructors, with your client. You can invite your faculty advisor, and you're going to give the final presentation. Here's our solution. And after you're done, after about 30 minutes of your presentation, your client will interact with you and ask some questions, make some comments. Your instructors will give some critique, and we'll be grading that, okay? Then there's the poster presentation. The poster presentation is synonymous with the capstone event. Okay, the capstone event, if you've been to that over in the AGLS building, you're going to create a poster. We'll talk you through that, and you'll be standing next to your poster. So it's a different way of presenting your final solution. So there's that. And then there's the 2 faculty advisor meetings. Those are the main tasks for this semester. Yang, did I skip any? I think that. So there's a lot to do this semester. The good news is there are no exams, okay? There's no final exam. There's no in-class exams. The writing reports, the written reports, and the oral presentations are your exams. So you need to make sure, particularly for the oral presentations, that you're available for those, okay? It's going to be very disruptive to your team if you are not available for a team presentation. Now, I realize somebody might get sick. If that happens, we'll deal with it. But they're hard to reschedule because we've got a pretty packed schedule, okay? We've got a couple of spare days that we might be able to use, but definitely do not schedule a job interview on top of your scheduled team presentation day, okay? That's bad bull. Don't schedule your spring break trip during your presentation day. There's no spring break this semester, okay? Although if you look carefully at our schedule, you'll notice that traditionally during the spring break, I really don't have a lot planned, okay? That doesn't mean go ahead and schedule things. Those are spare days for us, okay? You'll note that March 16th, I've listed as TBD, to be determined, okay? So we may meet that day, we may not. That's a Tuesday. March 18th is a Thursday. we would typically meet that day, except the university has redefined that day as you go to Friday classes on that day. So we will not be meeting March 18th. You'll go to your Friday classes or not, okay? Because the next day, the 19th, is your spring break day. That's a day off. Note that also we will not have class on March 2nd. Who can tell me why? Did you pay attention in Ag Systems 301 when we did our Texas history reviews? What's March 2nd? Texas Independence Day. That's right. So you're going to get that day off. In lieu of a week-long spring break, they're kind of peppering days off. You're going to have March 2nd off, celebrate Texas Independence Day. Okay, that's a great day to go down to Washington on the Brazos, and there's reenactments that go on. Anyway, like I said, the March 19th is a Friday. There's no class that day. And there's a reading day. Now, Friday, April 2nd, it's not our class day, but that's a Good Friday. So the university has declared that a reading day. So you're going to have some days off this semester, just not 5 in a row. Okay, here's the homework schedule. This is lifted right out of your syllabus. I've highlighted a couple of dates here. The first 2 assignments, team section assignments, due the 21st. That's on Thursday. What this is when you come to class next Thursday, you need to have decided who's going to write which section. Who's going to write the background, who's going to write the flow analysis, who's going to write the, who's going to be the lead writer on each one of those. Obviously, each of them are a team project, a team endeavor, but next Thursday, we need to know who's going to be the one that's going to be their individual assignment, okay? That means you got some homework to do between now and next class meeting. Young, is there a form on eCampus that okay, so you go on eCampus, this is assignment number 1, and you can upload that on eCampus, or you can bring it to class on Thursday. Assignment number 2, faculty advisor sheet. That's due the following Thursday. This means what you're going to do is it's just hanging on eCampus. You're going to nominate. You're going to pick 3 faculty members that could be candidates to be your faculty advisor. So pick 3 names from our faculty or university faculty or even somewhere else. Okay, we would like them to be university faculty somewhere that can advise you on your project. We've had mostly you're going to probably pick somebody in our department. Okay, but we're not going to have every team have the same person as their faculty advisor. We got to spread it out because we don't want to overload a certain faculty member or 2. We've had teams choose faculty members from horticulture, ag economics. So think about some other professors that you've taken a class from, or maybe you know someone who has some expertise that they could advise you well on the project that you're doing, and nominate them to be your faculty advisor. So you're going to give us your top 3 choices, and then we're going to select which one will be your faculty advisor. Okay, so you need to turn that into us by Thursday, January 28th. And notice that the first faculty advisor meeting was supposed to be due on when? February 21st? Something like that. So you've only got about 3 weeks after that to schedule a meeting with them. Might be a good idea to ask them if that's okay, if they're your faculty advisor, okay? It's a voluntary thing. They're not getting any extra pay for it. Okay. And then homework 3, the background section, as you can see there, the draft is due on February 4th, and we begin the written assignment schedule there. That's what's depicted. Notice, do I have a smart pen here? Yes, I do. Let's see if I can get it to work. Okay, so these are written assignments. You're familiar with those. And your final report will be homework 7, just like they're numbered pretty much like last semester. Then you're going to have a poster. The poster is an assignment. You're going to turn in a draft. We're going to look at it and give it back to you on the 27th. And your final will be due on the day before the poster presentation. So that's homework 8, your poster. We'll talk about that the last week of class, so you don't need to stress about that right now. Your final presentation is your oral presentation. That will be scheduled between you and your client, so you'll be working on that. Your poster session is also a grade where we actually grade you on the poster and your presentation on April 30th. And then your team participation survey is due on the same day that your final report is due. And that's the day that we would normally have a final exam, okay? So that's the note. You have to have everything turned in by then. And if you want to turn it in early, you're welcome to do that, okay? So those are the major homework assignments and when they're due. So same ones as last semester with a few different ones, a few additional ones that are related to your oral presentations, okay? Wow, that took a long time. Let's try to speed this up a little bit. Grading differences. As I mentioned, with the writing assignments, we're going to be raising the bar. You guys have been through this once before. You've seen our comments. So if when we see mistakes that are related to things that were common last semester, like improper citation, incorrect reference format, you didn't label the table, we're going to be counting off a lot more for that, okay? So the ASAB style guide in formal business writing, we've been through that already now, okay? So we don't want to focus on that, you know, those cosmetic aspects. We want to focus more on the content and your ability to communicate that content. Last semester, it was more about the process and not the project, okay? We didn't really grade too much on your ideas about how to clean cantaloupes. That wasn't the point. But this semester is different. It's more about the project and less about the process. We have a process that's in place. You've practiced that. You'll be graded on that, but we want to focus on the project itself. What are your answers? What are your recommendations for your team problem, okay? So we're going to focus more on content and communication. That doesn't mean we're not going to take off on those business writing style things, grammar, punctuation, organization, making paragraphs that are easy to read. That just means we're going to be counting off more harshly on those things, okay? Remember, the University Writing Center is still an asset for you that you need to use. Here's some tips again on writing. Read it out loud after you write it. It needs to make sense. It doesn't mean write the way you speak. Some of you speak like, you know, you're out on the deer stand and, yeah, we hit that deer and he ran over yonder, okay? You're not gonna write like that, okay? So write professionally, but then read it back so it doesn't sound like you gotta chew at the back of your mouth when you're reading it, okay? The rubric. The rubric is included on each assignment. Somebody in the university made a rule a long time ago that we're supposed to have a rubric. And you know what that does? It kind of gives away the farm. It tells us what we're grading. It tells the student what we're grading. So the secret's out, okay? So look at the rubric and follow it because that's what we're using when we grade the paper. And then follow the instructions in the homework assignment, okay? So these are the steps of problem solving that we did last time. You're gonna go through that again. I'm not gonna review those. Interacting with clients. I want to remind you that the clients don't grade your work, but we do hear from them. I especially hear from clients who say things like, what happened to my team? I haven't heard from them in a month, okay? So they don't assign your grade, but the feedback I get from the clients may affect your grade, okay? So hopefully you're understanding what I'm telling you there. So their feedback's important to us. I love it when clients tell me that, man, this team is on top of things. They anticipate what I need, and they've done a lot of research. They communicate well, okay? So be that team. Don't be the team that's missing. Be professional with your client. Communicate with them early and often. Has anybody not been able to communicate with your client? Is there a team that still has not been able to contact their client? Tell me, who's your client? Haven't been able to establish contact with the winery, huh? Okay. Well, we'll send me an email after class, and I'll see if I can reach out and get them. Okay. We may have to put you on a, I don't know. We'll figure out what to do. Establish a rhythm of communicating with your client. You may want to have a meeting with them, every couple of weeks or so, alternating from your progress report. The worst thing you can do is surprise a client during a progress report. Okay, I've seen this happen before. Students will present some recommended solution, and the client's going, "I don't know where that came from. We didn't talk about that." Okay, so you want to make sure you're in step with your client. So you're going to interact with your client at least at the progress reports, at the capstone event, and your final presentation. But that should not be the only time you interact with your client. You need to be communicating with them. Make sure you send them copies of your written and oral progress reports. Okay, you're going to submit those to us, but the client needs to see it too because he's the client, right? That's who you're doing it for. Make sure you're responsible for inviting your clients to the progress reports. So here's the schedule. Today, you should let your client know these are the dates and times that we're going to be giving progress reports. Please put these on your calendar. I hope they're convenient for you. Thank you very much. Okay. And let them know if you're going to, if they're going to come here in person, that's great. If they're going to communicate, if they're going to participate online, Skype, that's old before we got Zoom. Let them know that you've got to make the Zoom connection with them. Okay. You're responsible for that. Okay, we've talked a little bit about the expectations in writing, professional tone and appearance of your paper. You need to take this to the next level. Need to be using correct grammar and voice, text and tables. The tables and the text, how they interact, need to be proper. And your writing needs to follow a logical flow of a central idea. So we're going to be looking at how well you've analyzed the problem, how well you can communicate your analysis. Did you use a variety of background sources for your background? Don't just look at somebody's blog. You need some scholarly sources. Does your flow analysis follow a logical flow that will inform a potential solution? And are the potential solutions standalone, or are they significantly different? They should be. Each potential solution should be capable of solving the problem if you choose that one. Okay, they shouldn't be partial solutions. So here are the assignments again. You've already done the problem description. You've got the background, flow analysis, recommended solution, and economic analysis, risk analysis, and implementation plan. Those are your individual assignments, and the final report will be submitted as a team. Remember your background paper. You're going to focus on your literature review, 3 to 5 substantial scholarly articles that you review, and you spend at least a paragraph talking about what you got out of that article that's going to be useful as you analyze this problem. You're going to look at standards and regulations. I have some examples here in a minute. You're going to look at different similar solutions in industry that might help you in your analysis. A discussion of how unique is this project. Is it so unique that you have an opportunity to come up with something new? Or is it not so unique that there are other solutions out there that you might use to come up with a solution for this particular problem? And then vendors, okay? This is what the rubric typically will look like. This is the one from the background section. Notice most of the points are on the content. Does the subject matter element meet expectations listed in the assignment with regard to problem uniqueness, similar solutions, literature review, standards and regulations? Those are 4 sections, count them, that you need to have something on, okay? If you don't write something on problem uniqueness, you're going to lose points, okay? Because it's right there in the rubric. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory and looks the same from last semester. Don't forget to look at some of your previous instruction. We spent a lot of time last semester discussing each of these. So there's presentations on the background section. There's presentations on the economic analysis. Those are resources for you. Okay, so That's why you take notes in college, so you can refer to them and then integrate them into future work, whether it's in the classroom or at your job. So don't overlook previous instruction that we've done, specifically lectures on these processes that we're expecting you to do. Also, don't forget your other reports. You've got comments on there. You've got those hot washes that we did. Those can inform you. You may want to review those as you do those assignments. Another commonly overlooked resource is the actual assignment sheet for this assignment. So read those. You can see that when we're talking about, when you're supposed to do the analysis of project uniqueness, we've explained to you kind of what we're expecting. So read the assignment. My theme for this semester for all Ag Systems Management students, whether you're taking 301 or 360 or Mr. Stark's classes or this one, Ag Systems Management isn't hard, but it is hard work. Okay, you have to do some work. You have to work hard, but it's not hard. Okay, you're not having to take thermodynamics or differential equations or a lot of computer programming like some other majors might. Okay, so this isn't hard, but it is hard work. So you have to work hard at it. Other assignments, here's one from the economic analysis. So if you're puzzling about what does he mean about cash flow analysis? Well, there it is right there in the assignment. So don't overlook that as well. Here's an example from a paper last year when they were writing on regulations. I thought this was pretty good. Before construction of the feed mill can begin, an air permit must be obtained by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. According to 30 TAC section 11611 from 2014, a facility must meet all the requirements of blah, blah. Okay, so you can read that. This is some pretty good writing. Okay, here they're talking about a regulation and they're telling their client they need an air permit according to this regulation. Here's an excerpt from a flow analysis from last year. Last year, there was the assignment, one of the teams was working on a feed mill, okay? And so here's the flow analysis. Look at this. They started with listing all the different things that potentially could flow through a feed mill. Raw material, drying, storage, grinding, batching, mixing, pelleting, cooling, labor, electricity, water, different water intake, water disposal, stormwater, lots of different things you could analyze. So list them and then pick 3 or 4 of them to analyze them in detail for your flow analysis, okay? And so here they picked one, delivery of raw materials. And this is what they wrote for their flow analysis. Each year, a total of 25,200 tons of raw corn, 16,800 tons of soybean meal will enter the feed mill. And they timelined it out there, 6 days of operation. It's going to take 4 truckloads of corn, 3 truckloads of soybean meal. Talked about the weight of those things. So that was an example of a good discussion of analyzing the flow of material through their system. Notice something. Let me introduce you to something that they use that many of you still haven't figured out. What are these? How are these different from the words around them? What do these have in common that I'm circling? Somebody tell me. They're numbers, okay? Use numbers in your flow analysis. Don't just say that a lot of corn and soybean will come through the mill, okay? Use some numbers. And there's one with a diagram, okay? So, enough about the writing. So that was just kind of a rehash of the writing. Let's talk about progress reports, okay? So take a break. We're going to talk about something different now, or take a breath. Like I mentioned, what's new this semester is each team is going to be giving 4 progress reports. They're going to be in person or online or whatever, but they're going to be oral. So what you've done in writing, you're going to use that to inform your oral progress report. Notice their progress reports, okay? You may not have, by the time you get to your flow analysis progress report, you may still be working on it. Hopefully not, but at least tell the client where you are in the process, okay? But the first one, there's 4 of them throughout the semester. So the first one should correspond to your background. The second one should correspond to your flow analysis and potential solutions and selection analysis, okay? So see how the progress reports generally mirror the paper that you're working on. That's convenient. So you take the information that you've been working on in your paper, whether you've turned it in or not, and you put it in your progress report and you discuss it to the client, okay? What should you include? Well, it's a progress report, so report on what you've accomplished to date. Also include what you're working on now. And thirdly, what you plan to do next. That's a pretty good overall plan of your progress report, how the project is going in general. But here are some more substantive parts of the progress report, okay? First, you want to restate the problem. So begin every progress report with a restatement of the problem. Obviously, you know what the problem is. The client knows what the problem is. You want to restate it so you both agree that this is the problem. Also, the instructors kind of need to hear that as well. A brief history of the project, you know, kind of where you are up to now. A description of the section being discussed. So here you want to provide specifics. Don't say, we're doing a flow analysis. This is where you actually present your flow analysis, okay? Provide technical aspects of the project. Conclude with an overall appraisal of the project to date and tasks to be done before the next progress meeting. This is an overview. We're gonna talk more in depth the next 2 class periods on what your project report should look like specifically, okay? When we actually meet for the progress report, this is what it's gonna look like. First of all, you will have given advance notice to your client on when and what date. They're gonna start at 9:45 on Tuesday or Thursday. You just need to let them know which Tuesday or Thursday. And figure out if they're gonna be here in person or Skype or conference call, whatever, okay? The meeting timeline is gonna progress like this. We'll start promptly at 9:45 with the first team. So the first team is gonna present their progress report. They'll be standing up here, whatever room we're in. The client and the instructors will be back there. The other team will be back in the back, okay? So the first team's gonna make their presentation for about 15 minutes. Then when you're done, you're gonna ask questions. The peer team will make their comments and ask their question. The client is gonna give his comments and questions. The instructors are gonna provide their feedback, and then we swap. The other team will get up, we'll take a short break, 2 minutes to reset for the other team to get up here, put in their slides, contact their client, get him up online, and we repeat the sequence again. And so the team that just gave their presentation first, they're sitting in the back, and now they're gonna do their peer review of the other team that's doing their presentation. So each team takes about 30 minutes altogether. 15 minutes of presentation, 15 minutes of comments, short break, start up again. So the second team would start up around 10:15, maybe 10:20, and we go till about 11 if we need to, okay? As we get better at this, there's a couple of times we're gonna have 3 teams go in one session, so we'll need to keep things moving along. So that's what to expect when we do the progress reports. Any questions so far?
Colonel, I have something to add.
Okay, you're gonna have to mute your mic or something.
Yep, I opened up my mic for Zoom.
You're echoing.
Okay. All right, can everybody hear me on the Zoom? Okay, so during the full progress report, oral progress report, to ease the setup, I will host the Zoom meeting if you choose to attend it online or doing hybrids. And after your first, I'll expect your first presentation will be kind of rocking the boats. You're probably still choosing your style. So the first one, I will host all 4 progress report, I will host the Zoom meeting. So we'll be using the same meeting ID and password. You can invite your clients, your faculty advisor using the same setup. And then after your first progress report, you kind of have to determine which which presentation style you want to use for your second and so on and so forth, even for your final presentation. And if you go after the first one, you have to do a self-critique. You'll review your presentation video that will be posted on YouTube, and you have to self-critique your performance, and then decide whether you want to stick your presentation style or you want to change it. And then you'll have to schedule a practice Zoom meeting with me. And that one is more towards to the final presentation. So I wanted you to like know how you're gonna present it and know like your presentation flow, how you're gonna coordinate with your teammates, and then schedule a meeting with me, and I will show you how to schedule your own final presentation with your clients and with instructors. And if you want to present it in different techniques and you need assistance, and we'll talk about it right there. Is that clear? All right.
Hey, thanks, Yang. So Yang is talking about doing his a practice Zoom meeting. This is for your benefit, you know, so that you're not doing your first Zoom meeting that you're in charge of in front of your client, in front of your instructors. What is the date? You know, we didn't assign a date for that, the practice Zoom meeting. After their first presentation, okay. Okay, so the first presentation, we are setting up the Zoom link. Okay, after that, you're gonna have to do that. And so between your first and second presentation, you wanna have a practice session with Yang. Another thing I didn't mention is that after your first oral presentation, you're gonna be required to, and I'll talk about this next class, you're gonna be required to review your presentation. You're gonna have to look at it on video and watch yourself do your presentation with your team, and you're gonna do a self-critique. I'll talk about that next time. Okay, there's some things in the syllabus that I didn't cover that I feel like I need to. Late work policy is the same as last semester. So it's a 20% off after if it's 1 day late, and then 13% for every day after until a week late, and then it's a 0. So after 13% a day, you really don't have any points left after a few days. So don't be late on your assignments. If you have extenuating circumstances where you can't turn in an assignment on time, let us know beforehand and we can work with you. We had one student who had a couple of years ago caught mononucleosis. That was the big plague before coronavirus. The students would get mono. Anybody ever had mono? Y'all never heard of that? Okay. It puts you down for about 3 weeks, and he was in charge of their paper. So we worked with him a little bit. Okay, this is a again, this focuses on, this is a team project course. So you have to learn how to work together as teams. That's one of the objectives. That means you want to be available for team meetings. So when your team is reaching out for a meeting, you need to answer. Okay, this is not the 19th century where we used to launch ships and they could not communicate with the headquarters. Okay, we have things like telegraphs now. We have a high frequency radio. We have ways of communicating. You have ways of communicating that even people didn't have back in the earlier part of 100 years ago. Okay, so you have email and text and even social media. You can even pass notes after class and get together. So the expectation of communication is rather high. There's no excuse for, I can't get a hold of my team member, okay? I realize you get a lot of text messages from your friends. You need to prioritize the text messages from your team members, okay? So make sure that you're available to work with your team this semester. There's going to be, on page 2 of your syllabus, the point spread, there's 3,000 points available in this course, but there's some points that are not included here. For example, we deduct 100 points for every unexcused absence. The university's pretty lenient with regard to absences this semester, but if you have an unexcused absent, you're going to lose 100 points. That includes Zoom. So, you know, you need to be here for the whole time to get credit for the class on Zoom. If you don't submit your assignment, when you submit your draft writing assignment, if it's not fully developed, we can take up to 1/3 of the total number of points. So don't just submit a draft that is half done. Okay, that's not a draft. That's a half done assignment. Okay, so your draft needs to be complete. So class engagement is we can deduct 100 points out of your total for unexcused absences, not being attentive, unprofessional behavior, that kind of thing. I'm going to ask Dr. Castell in just a minute if she has anything to add. I'm just trying to hit the main things from the syllabus. Our syllabus is 10 pages long. The university has laid a bunch of stuff in there that we have to include, including coronavirus policies. You've all heard of that. I'm not going to belabor it. However, Student Rule 7 is the attendance policy. We're governed by that. So we have to grant excused absences when you meet the requirements of Student Rule 7. I will go further than that. If you've been in my classes, you know my tradition is to encourage professional behavior, which means communicate with me beforehand that you're going to be absent, even if you're sick. Send me an email that morning, hey, I'm sick, or send it to me if you would. I want to get you in the habit of being in the workforce. So if you're in the workforce and you're sick, you just don't not show up to work. You have to communicate. I'm sick. I'm not going to come in today. So if you do that, whether you're sick or you've got to take your horse to the vet, something like that, give me the opportunity to treat that as an unexcused absence, even though Student Rule 7 would not allow it. Okay. So if you communicate with me before class, you're giving me the option to do that. And many of you know I've been pretty lenient about that. Makeup work is addressed in Student Rule 7. And there's a statement in our syllabus from the university about student mental health and wellness. Okay. Mental health and wellness is kind of being overlooked in this whole, everybody needs to stay at home and stay away from each other. Okay. That's why I think it's important that we offer face-to-face instruction. I think that as human beings, we're kind of designed for relationally to visit with each other. Okay. So, you know, review the mental health and wellness aspect of it, of the syllabus. There are resources available from Texas A&M, counseling and psychological services. There's TAMU helpline. There's even suicide prevention counseling. So take advantage of that. The COVID amendment to your minimum syllabus or to the syllabus is in there. It's about a whole page. Obviously, if you're required to quarantine, then you can participate remotely. You must not attend face-to-face if you're required to quarantine. Okay, so don't break your quarantine to come to class. Now we have an option for you on Zoom. Okay. Lastly, there is a department statement of academic integrity. If you followed the news, there was a lot of violations of academic integrity last semester. Don't know how that could possibly happen at Texas A&M, but apparently it has. The Aggie Honor Systems Office has a big investigation going on. I just want to remind everyone that the expectations are that you maintain solid and unquestionable and beyond reproach academic integrity all the time. Make sure you turn in your own work. I know many of you are concerned that, okay, I'm writing an individual assignment, but it's a team project. That's okay. Okay, I expect you to reach out to members of your team. Hey, you write this section, you write this section, put it all together, and then it's an individual assignment. That's every team member is going to do that. So you're getting credit for being a team. okay? You, as the individual submitting the assignment, are the editor. So you're supposed to put it all together and make sure it all flows well, okay? So you don't have to reference, you don't have to cite other members of your team that wrote a section, okay? You're expected to work together as a team there. So don't worry about that. But plagiarism writ large, in terms of bringing in material that is not your own and not citing it properly, that's plagiarism. So don't do that. Okay, any other questions about the course? I can't believe this took almost the entire time. Let me just conclude with this, and then I'll ask Dr. Castell if she has any comments. Team assignments, when is that due? Thursday. Faculty advisor selection assignment, that's homework 2, when's that due? The following Thursday. You need to begin preparing for your progress reports, start thinking about that, but the next 2 classes will be focused on that. Stay engaged with your team, stay engaged with your project, stay engaged with your client, okay? Note that there is an all-class meeting scheduled for the 16th, which may or may not happen, okay? Dr. Castell, I'm sorry I haven't given you an opportunity to speak. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, you did a very good job, very comprehensive explanation of the class and what is expected from the students and from us. The only question it keeps coming in my mind, have you given them any guidance on how to contact the faculty advisors? What procedure now, you know, before they used to come to my office and explain briefly their projects. So what is the best way? Should they prepare an email explaining their project and explaining the responsibilities of the advisor? We have a few new faculty that may not know that. So that was the only question I had.
Yeah, so let's talk about the selection of your faculty advisor. We have several faculty in our department that would be excellent, I'm sure. There are some new faculty members which you may not be familiar with because they haven't been teaching classes. Dr. Janie Moore, Dr. Robert Harden, well, he's been teaching 310, I think. Salvo Calabresi. So if you're not sure, check our website and look over our faculty, because there are some folks, even extension faculty would be excellent faculty advisors for you to work with. So you just may want to, let me give you some guidance. Before you submit their name, you may want to just check with them and make sure they're willing to do that. Because if they do get selected and assigned to you, we'll make the final selection. Out of your 3, we'll hopefully give you your first choice. But if everybody, you know, wants Dr. Kingman to be their advisor, we're not going to do that. He's only going to get 1 team, okay? So you may get your second choice. But you need to let them know that you would like to consider them as an advisor. And you know what, you're really not limited to 1. You have to have a minimum of 1. But if you want to get advice from other faculty members, that would be good too. Okay, thank you, Dr. Castell. We'll talk more about that because we've got a couple of weeks on that one. All right, well, I think that's about it.